and we're rolling anytime you're ready.
So, everybody, here we are at the Fear of a Craft Beer Planet podcast. We have a few spots, believe it or not, that we wanted to recognize real fast before we get started.
CashOrTrade.org is disrupting the secondary ticket market. They have been called the Airbnb of tickets. They help real fans avoid scalping and purchase tickets for face value. Together, we are the change this industry so badly needs. Go to CashOrTrade.org/Osiris and get 25% off a year of gold membership. The gold membership comes with the option of receiving push and text notifications each time a ticket is posted that you are looking for. You can also reply immediately without delay and gain the renew feature to bump your post to the top of the list, increasing your post's exposure when looking for hard-to-get tickets. Again, go to CashOrTrade.org/Osiris and add the coupon code OSIRIS when you check out to get 25% off.
Fear of Craft Beer Planet is part of the Osiris Network. Osiris is a growing community of music and culture podcasts, connecting music fans like you with conversation, commentary, and of course, lots of music. Check out OsirisPod.com for more great podcasts. You'll hear more about Osiris at the end of this episode. Osiris.
Hey, this is Rob Holmes from Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, and you are listening to Fear of a Craft Beer Planet podcast. Yes. Yes. I love you.
We love you
Well, I guess that's us. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Fear of a Craft Beer Planet Craft Beer Podcast. We are here at the Blue Monkey Tavern in Merchantville, New Jersey, which we have, we've been here a couple times before. We've done a couple podcasts here.
Yes, we have.
Today is a special edition of the Fear of a Craft Beer Planet Podcast. Richard, we are going to be hosting our friends from Delaware, the mighty Dogfish Head people. How about that? Rob Forzik is here on this Monday afternoon. Rob Forzik, great to see you here at the Blue Monkey.
Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Always, it's a pleasure to be seen. God damn it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Richard, the Rastafarian Richard is right here, and he is now newly a 45-year-old human being.
Yes,
Richard,
sir.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Konnichiwa.
Just had a bit of a birthday the other day.
Yep.
I did.
Right. We had lunch. We had a high time. We had some beer. We went and saw our friends at Tonewood. Yeah, there'll be an over-under, I think, now. People listening at how long it takes for me to mention Tonewood in every podcast. So that might be the quickest one
That's
ever.
pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was quick,
It's worth
right?
it, though. It's a good time there. I don't know. Who could not have a good time there? It's like being angry that our Stone rep brings up Stone beers.
Right.
Who could be unhappy at that?
We spend a lot of time. We spend a lot of time at least I do at Tonewood, because they're great dudes. They just got a new sound system. It was Richard's birthday, so we went over there, played some tunes, drank some beers.
Boy, that English Mild was awesome.
Yeah,
One
the
that
faux
they're no
shizzle.
longer making.
Yeah, the faux shizzle. That was a collaboration with the Philly Homebrew Shop next door, or Philly Homebrew Outlet, I should say. That's where the PHO comes from.
And I was able to make it there before you guys left.
Yeah,
driving back from Delaware.
Yeah, Rob Forzik had a very busy week as usual. He always does. Rob was in Delaware, home of Dogfish. When'd you go down there? Thursday?
I was down there on Thursday. Yes.
Nice. So Rob went down Thursday, had an event down there for Stone, and slid into the brew pub and got a chance to take a look at the brewery. And in the process, being the diligent podcaster that he is, he grabbed some crowlers from down there, the mighty Dogfish Head Brewing Company.
Yes. I heard what two of them were.
I heard them, and I'm not necessarily sure I remember what they are. Let's listen.
Well,
oof, look at that. That is music to my ears.
the first one we're going to open here,
Go
JR,
ahead.
is just for you. I brought this. I tasted this over at the brew pub on Thursday. It is...
And also the over-under on Halil giving me the double middle fingers. That was just obliterated too.
This gets right to the point of your classic German styles.
Yeah,
Ooh.
classic German styles.
This is a Kolsch
This is not
brewed with Citra hops. 5%. It is called Ball Peen Hamster.
Interesting. So we're working with a Kolsch, which is a German style. So it's basically, what would you say a Kolsch is, Rob Forzik? That's when they brew basically a lager with ale yeast.
Correct.
Long story, very short. That's how it's
correct.
done. That's how it's done. Yeah, it's a very long story, very
That's
short.
why it's a bittery lager. Huh.
Yes.
I felt that about the Kolsch I
It
drank.
straddles the line.
If we're going to bring up Tonewood again, but I
like
drank the Kolsch on
yeah.
their menu the other day, and I kind of literally felt that. I'm like, this is like the bitterest lager I've ever tasted.
Right. Leave it to the
In a good
Germans.
way. I mean, I mean in a bad way.
In the
I just
greatest
mean
way.
in
Can I get a little more of
an
that?
IPA way.
Let me get a little more of that. I just took a sip.
Wow, that is really good.
And so they have a crowler machine where? The brew pub or at the
brew pub and at the brewery.
Oh, they got them both places.
Yeah,
How
so
is
I got 2 when I was at the brew pub, and I got 2 when I was at the brewery.
Smart.
How is this not as popular as an IPA in the world?
Richard,
Like it's like a more drinkable version of what everybody's trying to.
Richard, these are one of the things, I'm sure I mentioned it on this podcast before, but it's, as we go through the day here, we're doing our little episode with just the 3 of us. We might throw one of the nice Dogfish people on at some point, but this is one of the things that is, that grinds my gears, as they say, Richard. The craft beer industry has spent so many, many years differentiating itself from the mass-produced, yeah, you will, from the mass-produced, light beers that are the Bud Miller Coors of the world. Dogfish being one of the ones that spearheaded all of that with the extreme brewing concept that they've been doing for 20-some years. So now we're to the point where if you are one of these newer breweries, your basic output is your hazy, cloudy IPA, right? And since everybody's making the hazy, cloudy IPA now, the way to differentiate yourself now is to do what?
Classic German styles.
Is to come back and make a lager.
Right.
Like, what the hell is happening? And this is so incredibly well done. This is one of the things you gotta love about Dogfish.
Well, when I got to the brew pub on Thursday, this caught my eye like right away as I was looking at everything. So I wound up getting, this was what I got.
Unbelievable.
A pour of, and I liked it so much, and I figured with it being a Kolsch with citra hops, it's right up your alley. So
What's the ABV on this?
5%.
God, see, that's what has to happen. That's what has to happen. Richard's pointing at me and being strange.
Yep.
What are you pointing?
No.
You're like a third base coach.
No,
giving signs.
Is he giving signs?
Oh, what he's doing?
I was measuring vaguely.
Measuring what?
You remember when we did the 3 iPhone podcast?
I do.
I told you I was having that weird, to be technical, called a phasing problem.
I do.
And that's the distance relationship from microphones to the voices.
Okay.
So if I was using your voice as the center voice, then I'm thinking the mic and this mic.
All right.
About double the distance.
All right.
Wouldn't happen so much.
All right.
We're both there. We're both
So you're doing that now?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
He's sitting. Yeah.
He's doing it as we're
Doing
going.
the math, my friend. I'm
listen,
doing the math.
I don't think this is how we're going to be configured when our guest of honor gets here. I don't think he's going to sit in
I'm
Pensacola.
not here.
Well,
I mean,
I actually
Ryan
just
Horner's always a
put
good
I just put my phone there for that reason.
All right. I don't think our guest is going to be sitting in Pensacola.
He may
He's
not be,
probably
but-
going to be sitting here or here, and you're going to move down a little bit.
Correct.
Possibly.
Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Well, I was on a roll, and we completely derailed it.
Exactly.
I know. You're fascinated with
With you,
every little thing
I'm
I do.
Fascinated with your nuances,
little thing, yeah.
why things are happening.
So circling back.
Circling
Sure.
back,
You
yeah,
have to do it now.
Circling back. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing everybody making these IPAs, and now we've gone from everybody trying to be different by making different styles of beer to everybody now being exactly the same, making the same style beer. Now here's where you got to give Dogfish their kudos. They can play in that arena where they're making these hazy IPAs, and they make them as good, if not better, than all these newer breweries that are doing it now. And then they can throw on their classic German styles hat and make a Kolsch and bang it in it with some hops and make it a completely different thing.
Yeah.
That's what makes Dogfish.
I did get a chance too when I was at the brewery on Friday. They had a hazy double IPA. I forget the name of it. It was like Juicy McJuicyman or something like that.
Really? Are you
It was
making
like,
that up?
No. It was like a
wish you
really
joined.
weird
What
name.
was it?
It was like maybe like 8.5%. It was decent. It was really good. But it was definitely their take on like that whole kind of hazy IPA craze thing going on.
Right. I mean, dude, I drink them.
Yeah.
I drink them. I'm just so sick of them. I'm just like, what are we doing? Everyone's making the exact same beer. And then we've seen now recently, which we're going to bring up again. I'm going to say it again. We're going to circle back on the next segment here. But the fact that some of the bigger breweries have decided they're going to make these lagers, and they're putting out lagers in an effort to compete with the Bud Miller Coors. Then you see Dogfish, whose low ABV offering is not a lager, because that seems like, to me, it seems like a layup to do a lager. So these guys are doing their sequench, and we'll get into what the sequench exactly is when Sam shows up, and we'll all have a sequench. And I have some things I want to discuss with him regarding the sequench.
Oh, look at you.
Yes.
Has it changed since we first had it last Records Per Day? I mean, it's...
Yeah, we had it, the first time we had it was last...
Fell in love with it, right?
Yeah. When we
That's why I knew about it this time around. I'm like,
Ryan Horner from Dogfish was on. He's silently monitoring us from afar. He's right here.
In Pennsauken.
He's in Pennsauken, watching us through his binoculars.
I mean, he's allowed to make noise.
He doesn't want to. I see he's very busy over there.
He is very busy.
He's very technically the host of this. Could you imagine the pressure this man's under, and he's sitting here with us? Imagine the pressure he's under today.
He's like a beer disciple if Sam is another beer Jesus.
Well, you have to imagine.
He's like a beer disciple now.
Sam is I get you, Richard. But if Sam is coming here, like, all of this basically falls on Horner and his team's shoulders to make this a flawless event.
Yes. Right. Because it's not really us he's worried about. He is worried about the massive event that's happening after
we just happen to be a blip on this whole radar here. There's a whole lot happening. Sam's coming up from Lewis, Delaware, with his wife, Mariah, and they're going to come here today. We're doing a retailer meet and greet upstairs. That should be fun. And then he's going to come downstairs and mix and mingle with the folks, Richard.
Yes.
There will be a DJ set up down there where the one and only DJ Shithead will be spinning your favorite records, and then Sam is bringing his own records
and dropping a few.
And rumor is he's going to throw a few on the turntables there, and that should be. I'm on the edge of
I mean, it'd be cool if he just handed you the record. It'd be much cooler if he did it.
Who is DJ Shithead?
That would be me. That would be me.
It's really not a bad name, actually.
In an effort to,
nobody would forget DJ Shithead. Yeah. No, seriously, he played great tunes.
I was given an actual DJ name about a year and a half ago that I never used.
What is it?
It was my friend Kira called me DJ Multibeats.
Really?
You know why?
Because you
one of my favorite
play nothing consistently.
But not one of my favorite Fish songs is probably my favorite Fish song is "Punch You in the Eye."
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And in that, there's a reference to the Multi-Beast.
Right.
So she just changed it. See what we did there? It all goes back to Fish, Richard. It always goes back to Fish. It always goes back to Fish, but I don't necessarily use that. But today is unique for us too, because a lot of planning went into this. We don't necessarily do a whole lot of planning.
No.
So we have some bullet points that we'll be able to talk with Sam. And I actually, speaking of DJing, Richard, I went through this past week and I put my records in a loose order.
Ooh.
Like I have
almost like a set list.
I'm going to say.
How'd you do it? Oh, you mean for here?
For here.
Gotcha.
So, like, I have about 15 records that are going to be kind of the beginning thing, and then I have like a middle set that's like an hour long that is just blistering. Where each track is just one after another, and I figured out how to mold them and mix them into each other in such a way that it will be compelling and whatnot. See what I did there, Horner?
Now,
gotcha.
Are we talking about impressing a guy like Sam or impressing somebody like any random person's wife?
So here's how it rolls. I've got to do both things. Sam's going to be in the room, and of course he's going to be there. You're going to hear it. So I want Sam, while he's having a conversation with some random dude's wife, in his left ear to just kind of look over and go, okay. And I got some critics in the room too, because I got, Rob Forzik's floating around. Ryan Horner's going to be here. He's got an eye on me. Rob Holmes is going to be here. He's definitely got an eye on me.
Not to mention Halil.
Halil has both eyes squarely.
He's got two eyes on him.
Yeah.
We've had
2 fingers to let you know he remembers it.
Well, yes. We've been discussing this week what can and can't be played, and I was told absolutely no rap music. But we came to an agreement, and he kind of brought up no gangster rap.
So Tribe makes it.
So very
NWA's out.
Tribe Called Quest is in my bag. I did throw Wu-Tang in the bag, and I did throw the 2 Live Crew Miso Horny in the bag because it's hilarious.
I would debate if you would get that past the censor,
But here's what happens. Here's the way I think it's going to work. I think that once it gets to be 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and the regulars that are usually here for dinner or whatever have gone home, and it's just us.
Right.
I have a feeling things are going to get a little wild. So if that's the case, Wu-Tang can make its way on. But I have 3 Tribe Called Quest albums. I have a Cypress Hill album, which is kind of straddling the line. I don't remember if I threw my Dr. Dre album in there.
I'm a little upset.
I don't know if I did.
That would be my question.
Yeah, I don't know if I did. I feel like I did.
The Chronic?
The Chronic, yeah.
Yeah, you own that too. You should You should see my records. I also have my Dogfish box, my record box, that green wooden crate. So that's kind of interesting. So total nerd out session today. Total nerd out session.
Coltrane?
I didn't bring any train.
It's not going to be a jazz crowd.
I brought some. You know what I brought? I brought some Herb Alpert. I brought some Sergio Mendes.
Okay.
The one note samba.
Yeah. So you're thinking Brazilian? All right.
It's a good one. And I brought some Miles. Did I say that? Miles Davis.
Speaking of,
now you're jumping back off the wagon.
Yeah.
Speaking of Coltrane, I got something funny for you.
I like funny things.
Because we were chatting about it on Friday when I ran into you guys to have a beer with Richard for his birthday. I was telling you about that whole Facebook thing where you post your album each day. I got challenged on that.
I did too, and it's too much pressure. I can't handle it. I'm having anxiety over it.
I was going to tag you in the post yesterday because it was an album that you actually turned me on to.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was going to tag you in the post, but I didn't. But the thing I found very interesting is that I think one person liked the post, which means I think because nobody probably ever heard the album, and that was John Coltrane, Giant Steps.
Oh, well, yeah. I think I bought that for you, as a matter of fact.
You did, many, many moons ago.
Yeah.
But it just dawned on me when you said Coltrane, because I was gonna text that to you yesterday.
Oh, that's funny.
I put that up yesterday morning, and I think one person hit the old like button for me.
Giant Steps is a great one.
It is.
Giant Steps is a great one. But
Giant Steps is a great song unless you're playing with a jazz group and they decided to call it at a restaurant.
Well, yeah, of course. That's not going to work out well.
Yeah. Most jazz musicians are like, really?
I don't know if you guys have listened to that new. There's a new Miles and Coltrane release called The Last Tour.
The European tour. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
God,
they're not. You could not find two different soloists at that point.
It's
in their careers too. They're drastically different players.
It's almost like when you start listening to a song and you're into the song, and then Miles obviously is the band leader, so Miles takes the solo.
No.
It almost sounds like when he's done that they stopped and started again. Because it sounds like a completely different song.
Yeah, reset to Coltrane.
It's right on the edge of Coltrane just falling off the deep end and just becoming that space cadet that he was towards the end.
Yep.
It's also the most popular time that guitar players grab licks from him because he really started playing those like wanna kind of little scale runs.
Madness. I don't know how he's making some of the noises on the set.
I know, right.
I don't know what's going on.
He was looking for something else.
At one point, he was making this weird sustained noise that just sounded like a wounded goose.
Right.
But he wasn't taking a breath, and he kept doing it, and the whole place, you could hear the crowd just lose their cool. Because at one point, I'm like, is he going to continue to do this? How's he breathing? He's not taking a breath. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It really is.
Wow.
That was controversial too, because in places he definitely was obviously cheered, but there were spots where people were like, "Boo!"
Well, because
like what the
your the jazz purists that kind of came up with him as he was young and watched him develop in the Miles Davis band. Started hearing what he was doing, and they weren't ready for that shit.
Right?
No, they were not ready for that.
Funny thing is, Miles ended up going that way. Like, because then you got his quintet, and Miles Smiles is
right.
On the edge as any other album.
Right. Absolutely. That is funny, Richard. Now that you mentioned that whole, the Coltrane did all of that, and then him and Miles kind of butt heads back then.
Right.
Which forced Coltrane out of the band.
Mm-hmm. Right. But plus, Coltrane's ready to be a leader at that point.
Yeah, but then. Because Coltrane
Giant Steps the same year, 59.
Right.
Yep.
But then fast forward with Miles when he ends up in the Bitches Brew, on the corner.
Oh yeah,
by the Philharmonic.
Yeah, that's even more out. Yeah,
that takes John Coltrane's Rings Around the Sun, Rings Around Saturn, and turns it into just even more madness. It's just crazy. It's that. My advice is to just put that album on. It's on Spotify. It's unbelievable.
I'll have to check it out.
Unbelievable.
Speaking of Bitches Brew, I did get a chance when I was at the brewery on Friday to try the wood aged Bitches Brew. I did not have a chance to taste that yet. And
I saved that. If you'd reminded me, I would have brought it.
What do you mean you saved it?
We had it. We were going to open
it in AC.
We were going to open it at some point.
Still around?
So maybe we'll have to open that on maybe another podcast. Because I got a little taste of it, and I got to tell you, man, it was impressive.
On tap here today?
Yes,
I believe it is.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Right. Well, I'll probably make that my first.
Have you had it yet?
I haven't.
Oh, it was really good.
I haven't. Noticeable difference?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
The wood come through?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Palo Santo is definitely noticeable.
So they're aging it in Palo?
Palo and oak.
And oak. Both.
And then they're blending it?
Yes.
Yep.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it.
Really cheap beer to make.
Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, I can't figure out. Meanwhile, it's year round now.
Correct.
In 4-packs.
6-packs.
6-packs? Is it 6-packs?
6-packs.
Yes, 6-packs.
Wow.
But it's like $20 on the shelf?
$19.99.
Dude,
That's not bad.
that's really not bad.
No.
It's a lot of beer.
I mean, that's
That's right on par.
one for now, one for later, one for a little later, 3 for next year. Like, that's amazing. Unless you want to drink the whole 6-pack.
I've been
Possible.
And that's the way it is
What's
year
the
round,
ABV
right?
on
It's
it,
the,
right?
it's the wood age
The ABV is like
version,
11,
correct?
I think.
Yeah, it won't be changing.
Okay.
Good. Wow.
Yeah, I was really impressed with it, man.
9%?
It was nice.
9.2?
9.2?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, I don't suggest drinking the whole 6-pack. I mean, you could try, but
In the confines of your own home.
Yes.
Yeah, don't leave
I
the
wouldn't,
house.
I wouldn't be out and about trying to do that.
no. And make sure you got good music on hand.
Yeah.
Preferably.
Unless you're at AC Beer Fest, then it's a different story. Thursday night can be a little
Yeah.
squirrely for some people.
Sometimes Saturday can be a little squirrely for people. So yeah, Ryan Horner just brings up a point that we did do the AC Beer Fest bit, which we haven't brought up. We wanted to do kind of an AC Beer Fest wrap here, where we went down to record the podcast in what they called Podcast Row. It was their first time doing it, so there'll definitely need to be some tweaking as far as sound goes.
Yeah.
We had a hard time hearing our finished product, combination of that and someone, Rob, I'm not sure who, somehow, some way lost a good portion of the audio from that weekend. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. It was a little bit of that.
I don't know. If I knew how to read computer error messages, I'd be in great shape.
You need to have a stock answer that blames your computer. just something you can read and say, my computer, blah, 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 blah. Oh, he does have a picture of the error message.
I do.
So I knew this was going to come back.
I wasn't-
and
Oh, he's
yes.
got a picture of the error message.
Because he was running
Had
around
you been
showing-
sober, you'd remember me
he
showing
ran
them to
around
you.
showing everyone that was standing still long enough the error message, which reads, let's see, for fuck's sake. It's unbelievable. See what this reads. Adobe Audition. Look at that. It's so funny. This picture is ridiculous. Why? Look at the picture. Look at behind the message. Look at him. Look like he's wearing a VR goggles. See his reflection. Adobe Audition CS6 has stopped working. Windows is collecting more information about the problem. This might take several minutes.
And it did.
And by the way, I was not sober, but I was not highly intoxicated. You texted me that.
Oh, did I?
Show.
Oh, I texted it.
Yes.
And then after that long amount of time, I got that.
Audition has encountered an error with a lot of letters and numbers and a lot of brackets and things. All right.
Yep.
An audition debug event, it's called.
Yes.
So that didn't work out in our
That's
favor.
another bit of several minutes.
He sent that to me, I want to say, around 11:30, midnight on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I just happened to be sitting with one Natalie DeChico, who we did a good solid hour with.
Yep.
And we were just sitting there having a beverage and talking, and I said, Nat, look at this. And I handed her the phone, and she lost it. And she did the old, Richard!
I did it for
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see 11, 12 o'clock that night.
No,
because
you
I
were
don't know
already-
what the hell happened.
You were
I ended
already
up
fast asleep.
I ended up contracting some sort of Ebola virus at the show. So I mean, I was sitting. We were doing the podcast 1 minute, and the next minute,
I think I might have been contacted that a couple nights before.
yeah, you had an issue a couple nights before. But there I was on Saturday at probably about 6 o'clock at night, and we were doing the podcast, and we were in the middle of the podcast, and the dude from Pinelands, Jeff, looks at me, and he's like, "Are you all right? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" He's like, "You look like you're gonna vomit." And as soon as he said that, I kind of dry heaved a little bit in my mouth, and he was like, "Was that real?" And I was like, "I think so."
Oh, boy.
He's like, "You better get out of here." So I ran behind a curtain. All hell broke loose for a few minutes. You guys managed to pull other people on the show.
We did.
I came back, and things were running swimmingly without me. Kudos. And I lasted another like 20 minutes, and then it happened again, and I lasted another 20 minutes, and it happened again, and I grabbed Richard by his tuft, and I said, "Richard, it's time to get out of here. I'm going to die.
By his tuft.
It's time to go."
Oh, I haven't heard that one in a long time.
It's time to go. So we didn't necessarily make it. That was our Saturday. The Friday audio, Richard can speak to it more than me. I listened to a little bit of it. It's hard to hear because
very hard to
you're
hear.
basically trying to do a podcast in what amounts to like a city block size bathtub.
Yeah,
You're talking
right.
concrete floors, you're talking metal ceiling.
Wasn't there a DJ next to you?
There was a DJ next to us, and behind us were all of the trailers, the refrigeration trailers that were housing all the kegs. That's accurate.
All through everything.
And it was probably 10 times louder than that. So, in order for us to be heard on the mics over the din,
we're like, you can just hear we're like screaming the whole time.
We had.
Yeah, I really love to drink beer. It's good stuff. It's best beer. That's literally what the audio sounds like.
It's pretty funny.
And it's just really hard
It's
really hard to follow. Right. Like when we went back and listened to Fridays, it was really hard to follow. You could just tell like we can all barely hear each other.
Mm-hmm. So it was like there were 4 different shows happening at once. And on the table that was happening, where down one end of the table was doing their own thing, and
because they couldn't hear what the people at the other end of the table.
So it was chaotic, and we're trying not to be so chaotic anymore. We're trying to keep our act together and trying to be a little more. Richard, what's the word they use? They use professional.
Sure,
we're trying to do that. You know,
a
little bit. I mean, we've got some heavy hitters coming. We got some things happening on the horizon.
We do have some things coming up.
We're pretty excited about AC Beer Fest. We did get a beautiful episode with Cam Stark from Ironbound Cider, and he explained the inner workings of a cidery, a farm cidery, where they're growing their own apples and pressing their own juice and making hard cider, and that was great. You know why it was great, Richard? Why was that episode so good? Do you remember why that episode was great?
Well, I know there was only 2 of us on the podcast.
Wait, who was missing?
We're missing one Roberto.
That's why it was so great. There was no Rob Forzik to muddy shit up.
Well, you just like totally stepped on me because I was going to say.
Oh, you were going to admit it to yourself?
I was going to say that I actually got a chance to sit down and listen to that episode when we released it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fantastic because before I got in the realm of wherever I went that day.
What do you call that? Blackout
intoxicated.
Drunk? Blackout? He don't remember shit.
I did speak to Cam at great length during the day about coming on. Like, me and him had a full conversation, and I was really excited to sit down and talk to him. But that didn't happen. But I was very happy with what turned out after I left. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And kudos to him, man. There was so much stuff that I learned from him on that.
Crazy,
was
right?
Fantastic. If anybody hasn't listened to it yet, definitely.
What's that, number 71, I think?
71. 72 if you go by the count of.
Yeah, I think it's 71.
It is 71, yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, it was very informational and educational. My mother, believe it or not, Richard, my mother does not listen to the show. You know, as you can imagine.
Shocked.
She just likes all the Facebook stuff?
That's what moms do.
That's what my mom does too.
But when we posted that, the cider episode with Cam, my mom felt compelled to actually click on the link, so she did. And when I saw her at Easter, she explained to me that she had no idea. That we had any idea what we were doing. She was shocked at first that we had a clue, you and me, what we were doing. And she was even more shocked. She had no idea about all of that, about hard cider. Like, again, she's a regular human being with a regular job. Like, we're in the trenches. We do this every day. So for us, like, hard cider's a thing. And we're looking at it, and we're paying attention to it, we're trying to sell product.
Man, it's yummy.
It's delicious. But the regular person that's going to a job every day and drinks on the weekend and isn't dealing with it on the level we are, they know Reds, which isn't a cider, and Angry Orchard. That's it.
Right.
So to be able to bring up something else and explain how it's made, explain why it's made, explain why the farm exists and what their message is, that really, my mother was super shocked by all of that. Super shocked.
We got to get up there.
And the fact that it's local.
Well, of course we do have to get up there, considering we had the owner on Saturday, and that was the audio that we lost. We had Charles Rosen on, and it was one of, I would say, of course the audio we lost was probably 2 of the best fucking interviews we've ever done.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
We were together, we were lucid, we were no one was tanked. Everything was perfect.
Rob had just come back to reality before we lost all reality.
Yeah.
Rob Forzik was
on top of my game.
On top of his game. Everything was we were firing on all cylinders. But no one could hear that we were firing on all cylinders, which is frustrating.
Yeah, you know what else we didn't get? Which I wish we could have gotten. It just wasn't possible. Was the conversation Charlie had with that other side?
Oh my God!
Do you remember?
So we sat. There was like a break between sessions at AC Beer Fest. First session, second session. There's a 2-hour break. We went and got something to eat. Me and Richard, and we were sitting with Charles Rosen, the owner of Ironbound, and we were sitting with a gentleman named Guidon, and I don't know his last name because I'm terrible, from Original Sin.
Right. Oh, Original Sin. Right.
That was fun.
That conversation was
because
great.
I was sitting between the two of them, and they were just going back and forth talking about the business, how it's changing, where it's headed, who's a jerk off, who isn't a jerk off, who's doing things right, who's a shyster.
And you know it was good when they actually looked at us and went, "Are you taping this?" And we're like, "No, not at all, not at all."
They did, but
we're
meanwhile,
safe.
me and Richard kept looking at each other, going, "Oh, you can't just put a phone on the table. That would be shady.
Yeah,
we can't do that." But it was a really, really cool conversation to be a part of.
Yeah,
it was a good weekend overall, minus my shenanigans and your shenanigans.
Yeah, I just feel like because there is some people that listen regularly that
who are these people
that we interviewed on Saturday,
I know.
And I just want to like Dave from Allagash and Dan Hoover from Matco Brewing.
We should probably reach out. We should probably reach out to these people personally.
Yes.
Oh, we had Evan on from Berlin Brewing.
Yeah, Evan from Berlin Brewing. I guess that falls on my shoulders, and I have not done that.
I think it just falls on the three of us. We'll make sure that we reach out to them. But
yeah,
if you do listen to this episode and
But out of that, we could be booking ourselves. There's some apologizing.
Yes.
We could be booking ourselves pretty solid. There are a lot of breweries that were like, hey,
so
why don't you come out and do a podcast from the brewery?
So very technically, we're looking at Atco Brewing, we're looking at Berlin Brewing. We got to go up to the farm and see Charles and them up at Ironbound. I don't know that we're going to go to Allagash. However, Allagash is going to come to us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this is still April. This will come out in a couple days, but we're going to sit down for a few minutes with the one and only Rob Todd from Allagash Brewing Company. So we're pretty much being able to sit down nowadays with kind of our Mount Rushmore. We've already had Kowaleski. We've got Sam today.
Yeah.
With Rob Todd. There's a gaping hole. There's a gaping hole in the Mount Rushmore. I'll throw Andrew Newell on there. Andy Newell's been around forever. His brewery's still kicking ass. But there's a hole. There's a hole, Richard. Who are we missing? There's
weird. It feels like it's close to our family. It somehow hasn't happened.
I was going to make a point on next week when I'm in Cleveland. I was going to talk to two people that I think we can get into the mix to figure if we can make that happen.
You think it would be a phoner? It would be a phoner, right?
He's definitely going to be a phoner. He's not coming. No, he's not coming to Jersey. No,
he's not coming to Jersey.
I would be
shocked. You think we have our budget to head out to the West Coast?
No, this budget.
Yes,
budget.
Thought you'd enjoy that.
Jesus.
Budget. We got to get an LLC done first, fella.
We're working on cracked software, whatever that.
Right.
Budget.
But no, yes, I was going to see if I can try to.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool to get a phoner with Greg. That would really complete.
Yes, it would complete the circle.
The circle. I think that would really round everything out as far as our Mount Rushmore goes. I can't imagine who are we missing on that Mount Rushmore.
And not.
Oh, Ken Grossman. God damn it!
Yeah,
you're right.
That would be a good one. Oof. We might be able to make that happen.
Do we have connections?
I do.
You do. Who do you know?
I could reach out to Bill. I hung
Bill
with him.
Roner?
I hung out with him in AC for a little bit.
This year?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I saw him Friday night. I went over to the booth. I saw him for a little bit Friday night, and then we met for a beer at Harry's Oyster Bar after.
Nice.
I'd like to add who else we also lost on Saturday.
Oh. And
it isn't just because she fed me constant CBS the whole time.
Oh.
We lost Miss Natalie Ice from
Natalie
Ice. That's what
we had her on a whole session.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was covering for me while I was throwing my guts up on the Kramer truck behind me.
And I'm just going to say it out loud. She needs her own podcast.
Am I not allowed to?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Does that make you some kind of hero?
Nobody listens to us.
Are you sure?
I have reason to believe otherwise. I have reason to believe that
you've been number watching lately.
Most of our audience is in Taiwan. I think.
How the hell did that happen?
I have no idea.
I almost don't want to believe that's true.
Did you? Since we're sitting here, did you tell him the joke that happened Friday?
Oh, we didn't even talk about that yet. The thing that happened, that one thing that happened Friday. No, what happened Friday?
Remember when you texted on Friday and you saw the numbers from Delaware?
Oh, I sent him a screenshot.
301.
That didn't even make any sense.
He sends me a text. He's like, "Where the hell were you at last night?" I'm like, "I was nowhere, dude. I did an event and then I was at the brew pub with Dan from Dogfish." And he's like, 331 downloads between last night and this morning. Who the hell did you talk to? I was
it was very coincidental
that
anybody. Rob Forzik was in Delaware at the Dogfish Brewery, and the next morning I wake up and there's 330 downloads at 6:00 in the morning. from Lewis, Delaware.
And the only person I know that
With a
downloaded
population of 340.
Right. So
the only person
the whole town downloaded an episode.
The only person who admitted to me that they downloaded it was when I saw Dan on Friday. He said that he was starting to listen to it.
Nice.
Can we open another one of these? Because I have another funny thing to
You
talk
do
about.
realize they pay people a lot of money to analyze numbers. You know why they pay them a lot of money to analyze numbers? Because that shit will make you crazy.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's already starting. I can see you already cracking a little
Nah.
bit. You're getting weird. I'm getting weird texts at weird hours now. Like, look,
it's fun.
400 people in Taiwan just downloaded the show.
Listen, Richard.
Dude, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Richard, listen. We've gone from a pack of savages that thought no one paid attention to us, right, to the point where when I ran the March numbers, we had 3,000 people all over the planet listening to us.
That's true.
That's not a lot of people, but for us,
that's a lot of people.
That's true.
I don't understand what's going on. But
No,
whatever.
I don't either.
But
That's
whatever.
triple.
We just keep doing what we're
That's
doing.
why it makes you nuts if you keep looking at it.
We're going to open something else. Holy mackerel.
Can you read that?
I think I can. I'm going to say that says trans-Neptunian objects.
Yeah, I
no?
think you're right. You could be right.
No, deep. O-P. No, that is a J. Object, yes. Trans-Neptunian object. Dogfish people, does that make any sense to you? Nope.
I don't think either one of them have had it yet.
I don't. What are we talking about here, Rob?
So this is a saison. That is fermented with Brettanomyces for Richard.
Oh, I heard there's a Brett shortage. Go ahead.
Yeah, I sent you that article. Did you read that?
That was fake, by the way. That was April Fool's.
Oh, was it?
It sure
Nice.
was.
Okay. Why didn't you tell me?
Get involved.
I didn't want to tell you. I just wanted to.
All right.
I wanted it to come out organically.
All right. So
that's what a beer's supposed to look like. Can't see.
It's a farmhouse saison, fermented with Brettanomyces, and then it's aged in freshly dumped Chardonnay barrels.
Oh wow!
For more than a year to develop a complex and earthy saison with notes of lemon, vanilla, and earthy funk.
Holy!
7% ABV.
The nose on that.
Whoa! Yeah, man.
That's massive.
Whoa! You should put that in your mouth.
Super barnyardy. What?
That's what she said.
Wow!
Did she?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she I know says that.
It's been a year for me almost officially. I haven't heard that in a long time either.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really good, right?
There's a lot going on there.
Wow.
I like that.
What did they say flavor profile again? Did you say I'm catching a touch of vanilla in there, like a funky
Vanilla,
Okay.
lemon, earthy funk.
Lemon, yeah.
They're using Australian Galaxy hops in it.
Okay.
Which is interesting because that would give it some real like fruity kind of citrusy overtones.
That's awesome.
Holy.
Enamel crusher.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Intense passion fruit and mango to the mix too.
Big time.
Yeah.
I get that. Wow.
Man, that's something.
That's big, man.
That'd wake you up. 7%.
Woo. That's nice.
Rob, while you were down there, how did the new construction look?
It was coming along. Did you get the pictures I sent you?
No,
You didn't?
I don't think so.
I
Maybe.
put them on the thread.
Oh, did you one day look and see? Oh, 243 missed texts. Yeah, I'll keep
It's
going.
coming along. They had finally finished the sidewalk out front there.
Where, at the brew pub?
The building that's going next to the brew pub. What is
Right.
that going to be?
Like a
The R&D brewery's going in there.
Right.
Okay.
Distillery, beer garden / like music type venue.
Yeah, Dan had told me that there's going to be like a beer garden thing out there, like in the corridor of where the brew pub is and like where that building is in between Chesapeake and Maine.
Yep.
Is that going to be an experimental distillery, or are they going to do everything out of there now?
Experimental, I believe.
Okay.
But don't quote me on
No, that's fine, because I'm just curious. I know they're running into, I don't know if they still are, legal hurdles. It's all good sending spirits out of the same building they're sending beer, which is silly. I know that was a thing for a hot second, but
Why would that even- what would
and
be
then
the-
there's going to be a beer garden in that area too.
Yep.
Yeah, connecting the two buildings.
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be like an outside
So what
seating
was?
area or whatever.
I'm very familiar with that area. What was in that area?
The old brew pub.
Oh, so it's on
Yeah.
the same site. All right, that actually warms my soul a little bit.
The soul of Dogfish lives on at the beer garden.
Thank God.
Yep.
Thank God. But speaking of Dogfish in Delaware, we've been planning this now for like a month. This whole situation here, and Sam coming up here, and this event, and getting the podcast going, and getting Sam on the podcast. We have 30 minutes, Richard.
30.
And we've been discussing this and talking about what we're gonna bring up with Sam. And on Friday, the three of us were together having a beer, and Richard was gonna leave, and we made him sit and have another beer. And in the course of conversation, we were talking about doing this, and Richard was curious what time we needed to leave to go to Delaware.
Yeah.
True story.
To record this podcast.
I found this out as I had just drove back from Delaware.
I was super confused. I was because I had brought up that we're gonna get to the Blue Monkey at like 1:30, and Richard goes, "For what?" I'm like, "What? What do you mean for what? For what?" It's like the event. And he's like, "What? That's not in Delaware." I'm like, no, man, it's not in Delaware. Which would explain because we went to lunch earlier that day for Richard's birthday. And Richard says to me in the middle of a conversation about something else, Richard's like, "We're going to drive together on Monday, right?" And I'm like, "What? Sure, I guess."
Which let's back
Why are we
up.
driving together? You're going to come from Marlton to come to my house in Collingswood to come back to Merchantville. Okay, if that's what you want to do. I had no idea. Meanwhile, he thinks we're driving to Delaware.
Normally in these kind of long drive situations, he wants to wrangle me as much as he can, get me and everything that's important all in one place.
Correct.
So I was completely taken back to why he was so confused that we were probably going to ride together. Except that he's right. I would have been actually going farther to his house than I would have been to the Blue Monkey.
Had he not had that extra beer at Tonewood, and we discovered that you thought it was Delaware, then
I would have texted you somewhere from 295.
You would have texted me from a rest stop that your car exploded.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the border somewhere.
Right. You're going to have to grab me on the way to Delaware.
That I would have to grab you on the way to Delaware.
Right.
Thank God you stayed for that extra beer, because that could have been...
I was glad he did too, because I was en route. I was on my way to have a beer with him.
But the gang is all here.
Yeah.
We made it. It's now, what time is it? 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We're scheduled for a 3:30 to 4 with Sam, which will be interesting and fun. That'll give us a few minutes to look at these bullet points and write some things down. Go ahead, Richard. What are you
dumb
wondering?
question I'm asking him? Because we haven't had a brewery yet on that I haven't. Remember with Bill, it was, I told him they had Sour Monkey on tap, and I guess I hadn't come back out yet. And I told him, "Wow, seriously? Best beer I've ever had by you. You should brew that. I'd go buy this tomorrow." He goes, "Thank you, can't get it." I'm like, "Well, damn it."
Well, there's no way you would know that.
No, but I mean, there's always something. And there's in every one of these situations, there's one good thing I just don't get right.
I have the utmost faith today that you are going to be on top of your game.
I think he will be.
I usually am.
I think you understand the gravity of the situation.
Like I said, he's another beer Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, probably he's the biggest one out of all of them. There they are, the double guns.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore, if you will.
The double guns
of Jesus beer making people.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's a big deal for us. Halil just walked through the room. Halil is the owner of the Blue Monkey, where we're sitting here doing this podcast. Sounds good in here too, Richard.
Oh, it's got a sound, definitely.
Right? I mean, we've done a show in here before. We've done a few shows in here before,
we
right?
have, yeah. We did our Purple episode in here.
We did.
Prince died.
I thought I had messed up the last episode.
I believe that.
Where we lost stuff. I realized that wasn't me. That was Dan, our previous producer. Remember, that's when his computer lost Rob's audio.
Yeah, that was the episode.
That was the episode.
Yeah.
So I knew there was another one where we lost audio somehow.
That was the second segment of that episode, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yep. Because we never released that.
Nope.
Right.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was the same day.
Same day.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yep.
I'm going to pour a little more of this beer if anyone... there's none left.
No, this is it, Dan.
Oh, okay.
This is really good, man.
This is really good.
Interesting. That first sip, the Brett smacks you right in the mouth. Richard, if I say Brett, you know what that is when we talk about Brettanomyces?
Yipper.
What is that?
It's sour stuff.
Yeah, definitely. It's the yeast strain. It's a wild yeast strain that makes beer sour.
Right.
It's doing its job.
You know who was right next to us when we were at AC Beer Fest and we didn't think to grab?
We thought
Dr. Matt, the guy who made that, found that wild yeast strain that automatically sours beer.
Right. There was the Dr. Matt, and then on the other side of us was Transmitter Brewing, which we dropped the ball there. We didn't bring him on. I'm glad we didn't get these people on, honestly, now.
Right.
Because we can't use any of the audio, so it's like, missed opportunities, but I guess in the long run it's better off. Because it's just hard to hear. It's just hard to hear in there.
Yeah.
We'll have to, at some point when the dust settles from AC Beer Fest and we can get 5 minutes of John Henderson's attention, because we joke about us being very busy, Richard. we are shut-ins with no legs compared to John Henderson.
Yeah.
He's actually very busy.
He is.
We pretend to be very busy. That dude is very, very busy.
Good Time Tricycle's always doing something.
They're always doing something. They're never standing still, which is great. I mean, that's how he makes a living, and he's got a kick-ass staff. They put on that beer fest, man, and it is just flawless.
Yeah. Our buddy Dan Joseph, now his social media.
Oh, which we talked to him, too.
We talked to Dan,
too.
We lost that audio.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unflippin' believable. What else do we have to talk about today, Rob Forsing? Anything?
think so.
And we have a bunch of bullet points for our friend Sam. Yeah, man. All right.
How long are we in?
Well, we're 50 minutes.
50 minutes. All
We've done
right.
50 solid minutes of nothing.
Almost feels like an episode.
Almost feels like an episode.
I can tell you.
Wow, man, that
I know. Let's circle back to this season. I think it's really good.
And you know what? The finish is just there, and it's hanging out. And that lemon is really the long play on the finish.
Yeah, and
the lemon, like the vanilla hits you in the beginning, and that sour hits you in the beginning, but the lemon is what goes deep on that.
Isn't there usually
I got to admit too, like I've never really had something like this from Dogfish, man. This is pretty impressive.
I couldn't tell you about last time I had like a saison from Dogfish, actually.
And I have another one too that we're going to open with Sam.
Good.
Don't saisons normally have like a peppery note too, or something spicy?
They do
note?
some, yeah.
It doesn't really have it here until that long finish.
The long finish, like a lemon pepper
You get that,
situation.
you get that at the very, very end. It's there though.
This is very impressive.
Most saisons are going to be made with Belgian yeast. So you're going to get that fruity kind of banana-esque type thing,
right.
which you'll catch that on a regular saison. But coupling the flavor profile of the yeast and mixing it with the Brettanomyces yeast really just holy mackerel.
Yeah, there was. I did actually have it.
I wonder if it's straight Brett or if they're mixing yeast strains. I bet it's straight Brett. I bet that's just straight Brettanomyces.
Because it's not crazy sour at all.
I'm not catching any banana on it.
Right.
I had a sour cherry. Sour as well when I was at the brewery. That was
no
really
shit.
Good, yeah.
Wow. So they're like doing a sour program.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
So just to give you some insight before
I
mentioned to Sam about some of the interesting things that I saw that was different about the tasting room. Because you haven't been in there probably right around the time last time I was there.
The wife and I were trying to. Well, that's the last time I was there.
Yeah.
Was with you, and that was Christ.
It was about 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. Was it? Yeah, maybe even 3. I don't even know.
So now when you go in, they have the area where you go and get your samples. Mm-hmm. Okay, but in the back corner now,
right,
there's an area where you can go and get special stuff that isn't year round or
really like specialty items.
Very very special stuff on tap, and that they had a crowler machine back there. So that's where I went back and got some of this stuff.
Wow.
And it was very impressive.
That's awesome. Before we fold up this episode, Richard, I think we should discuss what I'm seeing on the table right in front of me. I'm shocked it took me 50 minutes to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
So there's a cocktail menu in front of us, Richard.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
So we're doing beer cocktails using spirits that Hunterdon, the company that I work for, sells, and we've got 3 of them on the list here. We got I named them after albums.
Yep,
makes sense, right? Because it's a record store day event. So very technically, the one called Mystics Explained is a Flaming Lips album, but it's a margarita.
Right.
It's a margarita made with mezcal and Sequench, which is wildly different than anything anyone's ever had.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
Look at the Eat a Peach.
Yeah. So
obviously the Allman Brothers.
Eat a Peach is the Allman Brothers reference, and that is peach vodka, orange juice, Dogfish Namaste. And I will say, oops, I don't want to say that. Is that the first I will say this episode?
That's the first one this episode.
Damn it.
Bound to happen.
I've been making these at home, the Eat a Peach, with the peach vodka, the orange juice, and the Namaste, and it is ridiculous.
I'll bet.
Very dangerous.
Nice. Yeah, I get bombed on that.
Bombed, Richard.
Yeah.
Bombed. The Mystics Explained is a mezcal triple sec, squeeze of lime juice, and then top it with Sequench. Killer stuff. You can either you can rim the glass or not rim the glass with salt, whatever you want to do. And then there's one called, Richard, I'm surprised you didn't ask me what that means. Do you have any idea what that means?
No.
The last one is called Pain Relievas, and it's spelled Relievaz. Richard, do you have any idea what that means?
None.
I'm going to give you a little history lesson on this. So that beer, that cocktail, the Pain Relievas, is a Town Branch Rye, Aperol, grapefruit juice, Dogfish Head Flesh and Blood IPA.
Well, I don't know where any of the changes is. I just need to know where it stands. And
Pain Relievas is the rap group that Sam had back in the early 2000s with his head brewmaster. What's his name? Brian Selvers.
Oh.
So it was 2 white guy beer white guy dudes doing old school like boom bap hip hop. You can find it on YouTube. There's videos.
Yeah, I'll
and
look that
stuff,
up.
and it's like raps about beer. It's really funny. So I thought it would be fun to name a cocktail after that.
Nice.
Get his attention. See what I'm doing? I'm very subtly trying to get his attention here today. Just to let him know we know what we're doing here in Jersey. You know? But I'm excited to try that one.
Yeah.
I've made it and it's really good, but I want to try it here in the middle of all this swirling chaos that's now happening.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it's starting to heat up around here, huh?
Sure. Well, we're looking at a 3:30 arrival time.
One of the things I was going to say, JR, that caught my eye on this too is Record Store Day is coming up.
Yes.
That's why we're all here. This is a Record Store Day event.
This is a Record Store Day event, and for anybody that's going to listen to this episode before Record Store Day, we will be going and doing an episode also in April because we are very busy, like we said.
Phew.
Hashtag very busy.
Extremely busy.
With our peeps over at Jupiter Records again this year, like we
Right.
did last year.
Jupiter Records over in Woodbury Heights. Yeah,
Yes.
we're going to set up and do a Record Store Day event there. I don't know what beer we're going to be featuring.
Well, the whole concept that we're going with is
Yes.
the episode is going to be called Opening the Vaults.
Opening the Vaults.
So
Gotcha.
we are going to be opening the vaults of our own beer collections.
Yes.
As well as Steve is going to be opening the vaults to some really crazy record collections that he has.
Okay. Are we going to be allowed to buy things from that? Or-
I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
plus, if you want to come, if you just want to come see the podcast, which
Sure.
you know, really,
Yeah.
that's a great place to do it.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
of
they're
course.
gonna be
Especially if you're into music.
the peeps that were there last year refresh my memory.
Out Loud Fest? Or is that what it is?
Big Noise
Big
Fest?
Noise.
Big
yeah,
Noise
it was
Fest, yeah.
Which has Dogfish ties as well.
Dogfish ties as well.
They will be there again.
Nice. And that was who was it? David Bromberg that headlined last year.
Yep. And he's headlining again this year.
Yeah.
Along with some other acts. I don't remember exactly who.
Yeah, we'll get into all that.
But we can get all into that at another period of time. But that is something else we have in the works as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That's on that. That's the 21st.
21st.
Jesus
Yeah.
Record
Christ.
Store Day.
We are really busy. Richard.
Yes.
We really are.
No idea.
Very busy. Very busy.
All right, well, we're gonna fold this one up. This has all been wonderful, Richard. But we're gonna. Well, I'm getting pointed at.
Also, too,
Yeah, go ahead.
then the following week after that, we're going to have our new regime on for the network that we are on.
That is true.
Yeah, we should bring that up as well.
We could bring it up. We are. It's kind of big news, I would say.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
So we're
Huge news.
recording a podcast. We're recording a podcast with one Tom Marshall and RJB, who are the guys that are in charge of Osiris, the Osiris Podcast Network. And you may remember Tom Marshall from such productions as the gentleman that writes the lyrics for Fish songs.
Yes.
A good many fish songs.
A good many Fish songs. And Richard, we're Fish fans, as it were.
It turns out
Yeah.
the three guys
Turns
have all
out.
seen fish before here.
Turns out we're all pretty big Fish fans, and I will shout out to the Beyond the Pond podcast that is on the Osiris
Yes.
Network. I've been going back and listening to these things. Richard, you haven't listened to these guys.
I haven't.
I'm going to tell you what's going on with these guys. They're doing so they'll take a fish theme and they'll talk about it for the first half of the episode, and then the second half of the episode they start naming albums and records and songs that tie into what they just talked about with Fish, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
fantastic
It is
show.
really good.
It is so they do a deep dive, like they just did a deep dive on the Island Tour Piper, and it was awesome. And then the two guys presented albums. I think they presented two each that they thought represented, because I think the theme was this was different than anything else that Fish had kind of done at that point.
Right.
So here are some albums by artists that put out albums that were different from anything they had ever done at that point. And then they explain the album, explain the artist. It's awesome.
I've used as a bed for years a little slap loop out of the Caravan from the Island Tour.
Oh man.
Yeah, forever. I just
beat
like
it.
chopped it into a great little instrumental bed for commercials and stuff.
Can't beat it. But yeah, definitely check those guys out.
And not only are we going to have Tom and RJ on, but we're also going to have Ken from Industrial Arts
Holy
on
crap, I forgot about
Right.
that.
in that episode because Tom
Holy
happens
mackerel.
to be a huge fan of what Industrial Arts is doing.
So we found out that Tom Marshall is a big fan of the beer Wrench from Industrial Arts, and Rob Forzik and I have a loose connection to Ken from Industrial Arts, who is, Richard, believe it or not, he's a what? He's a fish fan.
He is a fish fan. That's the
So it
connection.
all ties together.
I'm like, I had a 50-50 shot. He's either a musician or a fish fan.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a fish fan, and I reached out to him, and we were rapping about the whole deal and explaining how Tom had mentioned by name that Wrench is like his top beer right now, and we asked if they would come on. And they are going to be on the show, and they're going to bring some Wrench that will be canned 2 days prior to the show.
Super fresh.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
nuts.
we will be doing the show from
Pizzeria
Uno's in Hamilton.
Where our last podcast was with circling back,
Right.
Miss Natty Ice and
Natty Ice
Laura
and
from
Laura.
Weyerbacher.
Yep.
Laura,
I-
now
gonna
Laura is
steal your
from
guys'
somewhere else.
bucket.
Now Laura is
Go for it.
Terrapin.
Terrapin now, yeah. Then Weyerbacher, now Terrapin, yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
so I guess that's what we're up to for the month.
The peeps over there were nice enough to let us take
have
the back patio again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're
so
going to
we're-
be doing that April 27th.
That was actually a really good podcast.
It
That's
was.
a good one. Well,
I remember
we're gonna,
that.
And I'm
A
looking
really-
forward
really
to
good one. That
getting
was
a
a
really
fun
good
one.
one there again.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna have a good one there. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. So
Isn't that weird how we only remember, like the Prince episodes don't I always think about?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of episodes that they may have been good or whatever, but they don't stick in my memory in any way, the way some episodes just
I can't imagine anything sticks in your memory.
Right? That's hard enough to imagine. Usually it's like a big hole.
Your memory is made of WD-40. I can't
Right.
imagine anything sticks in there.
I agree. No argument for me.
Well, as usual, it takes us a half hour to wrap up a goddamn episode.
I know. I started the out music at least 10 minutes
I know.
ago.
I said we were pulling the plug, and Horner walked away 10 minutes ago, and here we are still doing this.
Yep.
So, all right, that's it for us.
Yeah.
This is the first segment from Blue Monkey. We're going to come back with a very special guest who we've mentioned. So I don't know if it's going to be a surprise at this point, but it'll be great. Right?
Stay
Nathan?
tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll be back.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we're back. We're back here with the Fear of a Craft Beer, Planet Craft Beer podcast. My name is Jay Rose. I'm evidently the host of this circus. To my left is the one and only Richard, the Rastafarian. Richard, how are you?
Good. Konnichiwa.
Good to see you. Rob Forzik is directly across from me. Rob, nice to see you back and looking great.
Always a pleasure to see you, sir.
Thank you for bringing these beers up from Delaware. I
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
that.
No problem.
And on my right, the one and only Sam Calagione from Dogfish Head Brewing Company.
Hey, gents. Excited to be here with you.
All right.
You're excited.
Yeah.
We're excited. Oh my goodness.
Especially because you
gracious.
guys bootleg some strange stuff I don't usually get to have.
We did.
Legally bootlegged.
Right,
Paid
of course.
for.
So the way we look at it is, I know that you've been on a whirlwind tour of the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
You and your wife were in a goofy yellow vehicle.
Yes, we rented a bitchin' Camaro convertible down in Orlando and had a
great.
blast driving up the coast.
And then you guys came up the coast and you were stopping at different key accounts along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you had your fair share of Sequench.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's-
you'll have that tonight.
Yes, I will.
And I will too. But we wanted to be able to present something to you from Dogfish that you may not have seen yet.
Not in a crowler, that's for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So Rob was down there.
Like I
and
said, I had the pleasure of going down. I had to work an event Thursday night in Rehoboth. And I got a chance to stop by the brew pub and see the new brew pub because the last time I was in was
The
about
old-
2.5 years ago. It was the old brew pub. And got a chance to get this here, this unencumbered antelope.
Right.
Which is a cantaloupe and cucumber saison.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
we're gonna give a little taste of
Yeah,
it.
so the beers that I see on the table are a lot of them. I got to give props to our brewing team. We just had our weekend of compelling ales, which is where we really try to bring out a bunch of really hard to find beers and do a festival with it. And then whatever we have left for kegs, we put on at our pub. So these are some of the Rockstar small batch that were most beloved at the Wakao event.
Interesting.
This was sensational.
So you guys already finished that without me, so you're just going to tell me how good that beers are? Great.
I feel really bad about that, and yet it was so delicious.
worth it?
Still was.
It was worth the sense of shame.
It was. Every
This
minute
whole
of
life
it.
is a sensitive.
It really
So this is nothing new. This
Pride is not
nothing
my
new.
strong suit.
It is not. It is not. But we're happy
So-
you decided to come here and drink some beer with us here in South
great to be
Jersey.
in New Jersey with you guys.
Anything particular you want to say about this beer particularly, or
It was expensive as hell to make.
I would think,
the
yeah.
cucumber was not as expensive as the cantaloupe, and you got to remember cucumbers and cantaloupes have a really high ratio of water content, like a watermelon, compared to like a blueberry or raspberry or cherry, a really dense fruit. So you use a shit ton of these kinds of fruits to have the presence, the way you can taste. I'd say the cucumber's a little more forward than the cantaloupe, but you get that sort of tropical cantaloupe in the background. You guys like it?
I like it a lot. I actually did get a chance to taste it before I got the crowler, and I was really impressed.
What's
with
the ABV on this, Richard?
7%.
7%. Oh my God! I wouldn't detect 7 on this.
Tastes 5-ish.
You definitely taste 5-ish tops.
Yeah.
I would not say 7 on that.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous beer. Go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's the passionate amateur on the show, the non-beer industry guy.
Yeah.
If you had told me you were putting cucumber in beer, I would have thought that's the most insane thing in the world. Until I just drank it and went, "Wow,
That makes sense.
So much sense that makes
sense.
Yeah.
How is
Let me
that?
give you a quick background
thanks.
about our goofy little podcast. We've been doing it for 3 years. Rob and I have been in the business in some capacity or another for almost 20 years, from the retail side to the wholesaler side for me, back to retail, back to wholesale.
Supplier for me.
Supplier. Now, I mean, we've done it all. We've seen every aspect of it. We were at a store we worked at the Berlin Canals back in the mid-'90s. When you
got to
guys
the market.
first got to the market. So we've seen everything take place.
Yeah.
Richard, on the other hand, knows zero. But now that we've been doing this podcast for 3 years, he has picked up some things.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know zero anymore, but he still doesn't know a whole lot about what it is we do.
So we're talking about him like he's not here right
I know. I do
No,
that.
that's okay.
I do that
I'm
a
so
lot.
used to that.
I do that. We've also all been friends for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it all evens out.
Which is also why he calls himself the passionate amateur.
That's why Richard is the passionate amateur.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So your listeners get to see the world through someone who's newer to craft
Right,
beer's eyes
exactly.
at the same time.
We didn't want it to be like a pretentious, like just a guy sitting around rating things, because everybody does that.
Yep.
So we wanted it to be more of a conversation about the beers, the beer business, where it's headed, and seeing as how we're all musicians, the parallels between the beer business and the music business,
Yep.
which is it's funny how we come across these things all the time, and it just makes so much sense that I look at it as, like, if you compare it to like hip hop. If you compare like the beer industry to like hip hop, the beginning, like you guys, the Run DMC, EPMD, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, all you guys, Victory Stone, Dogfish, Flying Fish, and then you guys were the guys that eventually, you guys are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now.
Oh, geez,
and now
I
we
don't know
have
about that.
get out of here, get out of here, and now you have all of the guys behind you, and if you fast forward hip hop 20 plus years and you fast forward the beer business 20 plus years, there are some interesting parallels where things like that are still interesting and good, but a lot of them I don't understand because I'm an old man. As far as hip hop goes, you know what I mean? But it does go. And not even just hip hop. It's rock and roll too. The parallels there.
If you come visit our new brew pub, and you were just there in Rehoboth, I delivered back when I used to deliver every case to Hunterdon Distributing, our distributor here in New Jersey. Myself and Shorty and Dave were the only people that worked there to take the beers off the truck. I'd have a lot of time on the way home. Windshield time, listening to like a portable, realistic CD player. The De La Soul album in it, and that would probably be, if I said I'd put us at about the De La Soul moment in the timeline. Where I'd say that I
can handle that.
Ken Grossman would be kind of our African Bambaataa.
And the Soul Sonic Force.
Nice. All right. I like that.
Tim Cook would be our LL Cool J. He got mainstream a little before the rest of us.
That's so great.
But there's a lot of similarities, not just for hip hop and craft beer, but punk rock and craft beer, because both are wholly American art forms, like true craft brewing, that started out on the edges of mass appeal and have moved to the center by consumer demand. So I think there's tons of similarities there.
Tons of similarities.
The problems are also some of the similarities, right? Getting you don't want to put everything on the backs of the younger people, but the younger people seem to be drinking beer in a way that's like they want the next big thing every time it comes out, whatever that newest thing is, and that's a big problem in the music business. It's hard to sustain any kind of real sales in anything because everybody's just bouncing from band to band to band, and everybody's pocketbook is a little light, so it's real hard to get even hardcore fans, especially when you're to build a scene.
Yeah, like a success today in the music world as an album release is like 1/10 of the numbers that you need to be a #1 album,
right?
Even 20 years ago, because it's so fragmented,
right?
And similarly, we as indie craft brewers are up against a few multinational conglomerates. In our case, Bud Miller Coors, but for a local indie record store, they're similarly up against an Amazon or Spotify.
Right.
So similar challenges for the indie business models of bands, record stores, as there are for indie craft breweries.
Definitely. So it just made sense that Record Store Day became a thing a few years ago. What are we in our? Is this our 4th Record Store Day? I think.
Yeah.
And it
I
makes
think
sense.
that Dogfish sponsors.
Yeah.
It's the 4th.
Yeah,
but I think it's been around.
Has
for
it
a
been
little
around
longer.
for a little longer?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it just made sense for you guys, Dogfish, to become sponsors of Record Store Day. When you think about all the parallels that are happening, and going up against the multinational, and then it's the same thing with the music business. That it just made perfect sense for you guys to become that brewery to champion that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we love it.
Yeah.
Your tagline said it all, right? Analog beer in it for the digital age.
Yeah.
That's kind of been one of our rallying cries since very early in the 90s. But and the way we bring it to life, in the marketplace, is also very analog. Justin and Rod and Ryan, my coworkers who really oversee things here in New Jersey, are out working with Hunter and our distributor sales team to put up displays of posters, at off-premise places, to do events in great restaurants and bars like here at the Blue Monkey, where you get the opportunity to win an old school turntable. It's analog marketing, as if we were a punk band in a van, with real print, screen printed posters and old fashioned record players, and that's kind of what makes it feel real for us.
Yeah, especially in 2018 when there's a lot of things that don't necessarily feel real. There's a lot of things you see and a lot of things that are flying by you that you got to question every minute. So when you come across something like this, where it's just everyone involved, whether it's on the music side or it's with the beer side, or even in this place at the Blue Monkey, everybody's all in, and it's all genuine. It's all for the love of the game. That's why we're all here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I always really enjoyed going back a couple years ago, when everything first started at Record Store Day, was just the whole concept of trying to make it like, you guys just wanted to own Record Store Day and make it cool. And I thought that was cool because it was like, you don't really find a brewery that wants to do something like that.
Yeah, and we've released albums every year on Record Store Day. Some are like, collections, anthologies of great music from the archives of Sony Legacy. But sometimes we do actual releases with bands we love, whether it's Guided by Voices, or this year we have an album and a beer with our pals from Flaming Lips, who, they went really deep with the collaboration, where not only did they have input on the recipe, but then they used the ingredients from the recipe as in the lyrics of songs in a record that they're releasing on Record Store Day. So they were way into it, and I get to go out for Record Store Day to Oklahoma City to shoot a show with Wayne Coyne, where we're gonna ride bikes around Oklahoma City, and go to record store shopping and drink some beers in his hometown.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. It's been a fun collaboration for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah,
and that beer, Dragons and Yum Yums, is just now getting on the floor. Here,
I saw that.
Here in
I saw that. I had never
I got a
heard
chance
of
to taste that last week too.
Oh, you tried
down
it?
there. Yes,
I
I did.
Good. Pretty color, right? From the
really. Yeah, I had never heard of a yum fruit before.
Yeah, yum berries and dragon fruits,
That's
and
it.
then there's black carrot juice that amplifies the red hue of the beer too. But it's 100% all natural, but it's true, brilliant, like crimson color.
Yeah. What was the flavor profile, if you remember?
Also, I'd probably have. Are they going to pour it here, Ryan?
Yes.
All
it's here?
Yeah, I probably want to get refreshed.
Yeah, you guys are going to get to try it.
That's great. All right, I'm excited
I
to
want
try
to
it.
get refreshed, but it had a very juicy kind of sweet overtone to
Nice,
it. which
nice,
was-
nice.
I didn't know if that's what it was going to have.
It's a
but that's-
golden ale.
Yeah. That's
You're
my
right.
next
It's not bitter, hoppy. It's more like astringent, dry fruitiness
Yes.
instead of hoppy citrus fruit.
Perfect.
fruitiness.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. That's great.
But I did enjoy it. I thought it
I'm
was
sure.
really good.
I'm sure. I can't wait to try it. I'm very excited to try it today. Let's bring up Sequench.
Yeah.
Sequench is a beast for you guys.
It's been a wonderful beer for us, and we really found some white space there in the industry that
Absolutely.
it's harder and harder to find with so many breweries now brewing beers outside the Reinheitsgebot using culinary ingredients. 20 years ago we were made fun of for doing that.
Right.
Now it's nice to see that kind of creativity, exploding, and really validates, our work outside of style guidelines for 23 years. But it also means it's harder to find a space that's not really been, played in, and that mashup of the brewed in sequence of a Kolsch and a Goza and a Berliner Weiss makes for a really soft, approachable sourness, and then adding the sea salt and the black limes and the lime juice makes it appeal to margarita drinkers, Pinot Gris drinkers, Michelob Ultra drinkers just as much as session sour.
And we're seeing that. Did you notice in front of you here? There's a cocktail list. And you'll notice on the cocktail list there happens to be a sequence drink made with mezcal.
Yeah, nice. I'm doing a show in New York tomorrow with Noriega. Remember that rapper?
Oh my God!
Fuck yeah!
Oh my God!
So Nori and I were doing a show talking about the explosion of beer cocktails.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Where's
So
that?
cool
Is that going to be aired somewhere?
Yeah, it's going to be aired on Complex, the Fuse Network on your TVs. I think in the summer.
Oh, wow.
Or so.
Okay.
So, So yeah, beer cocktails and it's great to see that exploding. And Sequence just works really well in that environment with mules, with sea mules as well.
Yeah.
So it works well with that.
Definitely. So, Richard, were you aware that the Sequence is a blend of 3 different beers? Did you know that? Yeah. Have we covered that?
I think we did.
Last April 21st.
Yes, when we had Ryan on the show, we did. Ryan brought that up.
Sequence is one of summer beers.
I educated one person
You did
in
educate him,
2017.
yes, because I remember he was very.
One person at a time.
I won.
One at a time.
That's how we save souls here. One soul at a time.
And this is a soul that needs saving. If ever there was one. If ever there was one.
But sours are my thing. I mean, that's how when we started in the beginning, I realized I was never not that I hated lagers or anything like that, but I didn't know anything about there was all these vast styles of beer out there besides the 3 or 4 you hear of all the time. Yeah. And as soon as I had a sour, I was done. I came from the wine side, I guess, inevitably. Yeah, I was a wine guy.
Say, like back, like when we first all were friends, from the beginning, back 20-something years ago, he was very big into the wine aspect. He was a very big wine drinker and also a Belgian beer drinker.
Yeah, Chimay was mine.
And he never really had craft. He never really got into that next level of IPAs, and it was more
so
Belgian.
You're still not into
beers.
the super hoppy beers, but
I mean, just like you develop a palate with wine or anything like that, you can definitely start to get a taste for that. And there's definitely ones I like now, but still my favorites end up being like sours and stouts.
Yeah.
Sequence was the perfect. Like if all the summer beers people have pitched me in the 3 years you've been on the show, that to me was that beer said summer to me.
Well, the low ABV helps too.
Yeah,
4.9 ABV, only 9 calories per 12-ounce can. Only,
oh my God!
I'm sorry, 140 calories per 12-ounce can, 9 carbs.
And the soft sour part you mentioned is actually that's a great beer to show somebody who we want to get them into sours.
Like it's a baby step.
Yep, it's a nice baby step run, right?
Towards sours.
Yeah, we had a Dogfish crew drive last week, and I think at our dinner after the crew drive, I think I had 46 sequential. Might have been 47, right?
They're
and I woke up the next
refreshing,
morning. I woke up the next morning fresh as a daisy. we had an 8:30 call at the hotel lobby the next morning. I was down there 8:15, feeling
doing
spry,
your yoga,
stretching, sucking in air.
When was the last time you stretched?
Never. I'm about as flexible as a 2x4, without question. I did say something to you last year. I don't expect you to remember it because it was a big group setting, but I'm going to plant the seed in your head again. I would eventually, at some point, I know it's probably not possible, but I would love to see the deconstructed Sequence.
Oh yeah, we were by the fireside. I think at the hotel.
We were
at that restaurant.
We were at NAC right before AC Beer Fest with the sales team.
Yeah.
And
So the concept would be do like a mixed 12-pack, but break out the Kolsch from the Sequence, Berliner from and then people could even play with their own ratio.
You can make their own ratio.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
Awesome,
you
right?
never said that to me.
I never told you that.
I'm hurt. You know what I mean?
I never said that to you.
We're like basically married all these years, and you never said that to me.
I have conversations with Sam that I'm not going to bring up to you. I'm not going to bring up to you. Me and Sam have our own thing.
All right.
Me and Sam have our own thing. You know, I have proof of that.
I know, but
Sam,
you get very upset
Sam,
when you know.
I'm going to show you something bizarre. I know we're on radio or whatever it is. So people can't see it, but I need to show you this. Look at the date. April 9th, 2010.
Oh my God.
That's my fat, sweaty ass. That's you.
When we were kings.
We were kings. You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. I was
we were
standing
in
in the
our
brew.
prime.
I was standing in the brew pub. I was
see the
holding
Pure sign behind.
Yes, I was holding court. I was meeting people. Me and my wife were down there. It was the day before Easter.
Yeah.
Bonnie Prince Billy was playing.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
I know you are.
Them, yeah.
So you pulled up outside in the green Mini, and my wife was outside smoking.
Yeah.
And she saw you pop out of the car, and she came over and grabbed you, and she was like, "Holy shit!
say hi.
I need you to walk in the door. My giant husband's wearing a green Victory Brewing Company track jacket. I need you to go inside and say hello to him." And you were like, "Oh my God, he's right inside the door." Absolutely. So you walked in, and I'm being the king of the court in your brew pub,
Yeah,
and
nice.
you walk in behind me and get in my ear, and you go, "Are you Jay Rose?" And I turned around, and almost fell, and I was like, yeah."
And you stayed for the Bonnie Prince Billy show?
Yes.
And was that the one? Do you remember where the Angel, whatever her name is, who got really famous?
Angel Olsen.
Angel
Yeah,
Olsen
I do believe.
was backup that night.
Yeah.
For him.
So you walked in, and then I was shook, as the kids say. I was shook. And then you walked in.
Shook you all
You
night
walked in
long.
cool as a cucumber, and you said to the bartender, you were like, "Out of my stash, pull a 2007 Immortale." So you cracked a 2007 Immort. You and I shared a 2007 Immort. And then I kept the glass. Sorry, I still have it.
That's fine. It happens all the time. You're the guy who stole the glass from our pub.
Yeah, Horner said this morning you were looking for it. I said, Horner, a picture. I'm like, I still have it. Horner's like, you know what? He's been meaning to get that back from you. But I still have the glass.
Cool.
But it was
I do
such a
remember that.
it was such a cool thing.
Just to prove mine and his relationship, why I made the joke was because he blew my phone.
Oh, I blew it up
like a giddy schoolgirl.
Blew it up.
And sent me that picture 8 years ago while all this was
Blew
going
it up.
on.
And then the next morning was Easter morning, and we have children, so we had to get on the road bright and early for Easter. We got on the road at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and we were driving a little Nissan Cube, and you were in the green Mini, and you were
Playing well back to the airport.
there were two cars on the road at 8 o'clock in the morning up Route 1 up Coastal Highway. Us, and I could see about a quarter mile ahead of me. I was like, "Is that Sam?" I bet it is. And we start flying, and my wife's like, "Are we in a rush?"
He's stalking.
She's like, "Are you in a rush?" I was like, "I'm not."
This part of the story's not creepy at all, but
I rolled up next to you guys. I honked the horn. I waved at you. You guys both leaned over. You were like, "Hey, man!" And then I just fell behind you, and that was the end of that. But yeah, it was a very cool weekend. It was a very cool weekend. But literally, 8 years to the day was the first time I met you. Now here we are doing this 8 years later. It's crazy, right?
Love it.
It's just silly. It's just funny how this whole industry works.
Yeah,
I
love it.
Can I say something about this beer that
We
we're
love
drinking?
beer. We're on a beer podcast. I would hope you would do that.
This is very impressive to me.
Right.
It's something a little out of the ordinary for you guys. Is this something that we could possibly see like somewhere?
We're just starting to put the first draft of next year's beer calendar together.
Okay.
And I bet there's fellow commercial brewers listening to the show.
Oh, I bet there's not, but I like your enthusiasm, my friend. I like your enthusiasm.
There's definitely homebrewers aspiring to open breweries.
That's a true story.
That's definite. Yeah.
And,
That's a true story.
And it's a big challenge is every year, the brewing calendars that you put together for release next year, if you're a distributing brewery, your distributors really want to understand what you're going to come with as your focus in the early fall before the year that's coming. So you have to make some decisions on ingredient buying and what your core beers are going to be before the summer, so you can start, planning everything. And it's hard because you don't really have the trends of the year that you're in to set the calendar for the next year.
Yeah, right. That's become a real problem lately. Yeah.
And it also it's a component that has led to the creep of seasonal beers being released too early by a lot of breweries, and that's kind of put a real damper on the excitement around certain seasonal programs. Ours has really maintained its excitement and grown double digits, but a lot of distributors are really kind of putting the brakes on seasonals.
I've said this to every brewer, so I guess I should tell him too.
Go ahead.
I hate seasonal beers. Not the beers themselves. I hate the concept. I hate it.
Why is that?
I came into it, and the first beer I ever fell in love with was Neshaminy Creek's Leon. It was like the first time I had a beer somewhere where I sat down, drank it, went, "Oh my God, where do I get it?" You can't. It's the last keg of it. And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Wait a year.
Oh yeah, no, they only do this once a year. And I'm like, "What? Why?"
Well, that'll keep you on the edge. That keeps you on the edge of your seat for a year.
I guess, but the back part of my mind is like, man, you're missing out on something that's just so good. People should drink this all the time. Like I would drink this it's another joke of my thing, but I would drink this every day. If this came out and was on the thing, this would always be in my refrigerator. It was that
Yeah,
good.
it was impressive.
This would
That was the
replace-
point I was making. Is both those,
Oh, yeah.
this beer and that beer really impressed
You're
me.
like, why drink a session IPA when you can drink this?
Yeah.
Which is delicious. By the way, I'm pointing. We're not on camera. It's the Ball Bean Hamster is the one I'm talking about. We drank
5%
earlier.
that we drank on the first segment.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Yeah,
It's perfect.
and that is very similar, I should say, to the Kolsch thread that's in
Sequence.
Thanks,
Oh wow,
Brad.
okay.
So that is a little bit more hops.
Yeah.
but very similar to that. So yeah, Bald Peen Hamster has been really well received at our brew pub, and that's why folks have to do the road trip from Jersey to come visit us. Because anytime you visit our Milton Production Brewery, or anytime you visit our Rehoboth Pub or Chesapeake and Maine, our seafood restaurant, there's always going to be a number of beers on tap there that you can't get anywhere else. And there's some of them are beers we're just doing as one-offs, and some of them are beers that we're thinking about blowing up and making coast-to-coast releases the next year. And we intentionally don't say, hey, this is one we think might be huge next year.
Sure.
We want beer lovers to come down just by telling their excitement, their engagement with our staff, what they're writing on Untapped, on Beer Advocate.
Right.
It helps us kind of triangulate, is this a beer that we could do in an off-center way to be differentiated, not copy anyone else in the marketplace, but could release coast-to-coast the next year.
One thing I will say, since you're bringing up that topic, is that I was at the brewery on Friday,
as you mentioned,
and I was very impressed in a lot of the changes that were inside the tasting room.
Yeah.
And one of the things that caught my eye
we did
was
talk about
this rack area.
That rack area.
Ariel.
Yep.
Do you mind just touching base on that real fast on what that is? Like I was really impressed with that, man. Like I had never seen anything like that before.
Yeah. So
and I was trying to explain it to Jay, so that's why I wanted you to just kind of talk about it real fast if you could.
So if your listeners could just envision, if you've ever been in a barrel room of a winery or a brewery, and there's racks of multi-layers of barrels. Dogfish had and a company called AC Beverage out of Maryland, and they have another office in Massachusetts, designed and kind of created this system where you can transfer regular keg beer that may have been aged on barrels, regular barrels, or may not have, into 55-gallon barrels. It could be used wine barrels, fresh barrels, whiskey barrels. You transfer them in, and then within every single keg, we have a blender, and we can control the nitrogen and CO2 content, and we can carbonate still beer in the casks, and then pull them out to a regular tap system directly from the barrels and serve barrel-aged nitro CO2 blended beers on tap direct from the barrels.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to explain to you guys when I drove back up Friday and we called each other for about 10 minutes. It was really impressive.
He did it far better than you.
Yes, yes, I'm sure he did. That's why I wanted him to talk about it real fast.
When he explained it, when Rob explained it, I envisioned the first thing I said was, oh, so it's a Solera, but it's not. So you're doing they're different things that are happening, and they're not all connected.
It might be 4 different barrels or 6 different barrels with 6 different beers in them that you can control this different CO2 nitrogen levels in all 6 of them.
Wow.
And tap them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's a fun project. You can see that, as Rob said, in our Milton, Delaware tasting room.
Did you get to try anything off of that?
I did.
Oh, did you?
I tried, and I can't remember how to say it correctly.
Uh-oh.
What's the stout? The
Syracuse.
Yes.
Just ask your boy. Just ask your boy. Number one fanboy for
that was
20
when they had
years.
it there, and I had it. It was really good.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed with that. So I'm glad
I do believe that's on tap here today. Also,
Syracuse probably is maybe not out of the nitro blend, but I bet it is.
The tap list is pretty dynamic here.
All right. Hey, buddy.
Ray Burrow, good to see you, my friend.
Look at the crews are gathering.
Yeah, everybody's rolling in. I have a couple things real quick because everybody's rolling in that are beer sort of music related. What did you listen to on your drive up here today?
Oh, your interview. Oh, good question. I listened to an album by the Meat Puppets.
Nice.
Hello.
Really?
Yeah, kind of an acid fried west and southwest punk band from the mid '80s.
Why did you pull that out of the hat? Why did you pull that up on purpose? Why did you pull that on?
No, it's just on Spotify. And my son is in old punk too, and we were talking about that an album, not Meat Puppets 2, which is their best known album, but it was a different album. I listened to that on the way up, and then an experimental a band called The Books, Books.
Okay.
An album called The Lemon of Pink.
Okay.
Which is a really weird, if you're into Boards of Canada or
That's interesting.
Sigur Rós, Icelandic.
Oh,
band.
yeah.
So it's more like instrumental weird shit than it is.
That's basically what I listen to.
Yeah.
That old weird shit.
Yeah.
So I'll throw it out there. What's 5 albums you think everybody has to have? I know that's a toughie too, but
That's so hard.
We'll try and go.
because I know there's 50
Yeah.
for any music lover. What 5 do you like? If you just look 5 off the top of your head that you love.
Only one I'll say that's shameless plug for a beer we do is Bitches Brew.
I mean,
by
yeah,
Brewing.
I agree.
We talked about that earlier
Oh,
too.
you did?
Everybody needs that. I agree. Everybody needs to have that
That
record.
had the wood age the other day. It was really good.
Nice. For me, it's underrated because it's kind of jaunty compared to most of their catalog, but Grateful Dead Shakedown Street. I think
Nice.
It's underrated Grateful
I
Dead.
agree.
And that
Easy
record,
way in.
That record may or may not be in the box downstairs for tonight.
Really?
It is in the
Isn't that a
mix.
classic?
It is in the
It's got a
mix.
great
It is a great
cartoony cover.
I love
to
the
it.
cover,
Yep.
and there's a few different songs on there that are like there's
Genre-wise,
Disco Dead on there.
Yeah.
There's like a weird calypso thing on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
There's slower songs, and they all work very well together.
Yeah.
That is a great
Yeah,
answer.
that's a record where they work the studio as opposed to trying to do their live thing. Like In the Dark is definitely them just doing their stage show as an album. I really thought that Shakedown Street definitely was them embracing the studio.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. They're not known for the best studio albums, but that was a great one.
We did not prompt Sam to say that.
No, we did not
We
at
did
all.
not because very technically we're on a network called Osiris, the Osiris Podcast Network, and it has to do with a lot of like fish and dead themed
Jammy
things, jam
stuff.
content,
They work with
and
Relics
stuff.
Magazine.
Yeah, Relics Magazine.
One of the guys that runs it is
Tom Marshall.
God, I can't believe I couldn't say his name. Holy crap!
Tom Marshall's the lyricist.
You're
for
fired,
Fish.
Richard.
Yeah.
And he's the guy
Involved with
that has started this this network that we're on, which is kind of fun. We're going to do a podcast with him at the end of the month. It's going to be very cool.
And then I'll be quick on the next
Go ahead.
3. I'd say, fuck.
I know. I hear
Patti
you.
Smith's Horses.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, I agree with you there.
I feel like I will do Run DMC, not first album, which I love, but Raising Hell. I think it's their second album.
Yeah, it was the
I
second
thought
record.
you were going to go first
I
album.
love them both.
With Rockbox on there.
Jam Master, Suck MCs is on
Suck
there.
MCs is on that.
Strong.
That's Crush Groove. That's old school.
Raising Hell was one of the first albums I ever
Well,
bought.
King of Rock was before Raising Hell,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Wow. All
Yeah,
right.
and then for my 5th, I'll do something a little more recent. I will do the new album by Big Thief. It's a female singer.
Got me there.
You got me there
too. I got
too.
Listen to that one a lot. Sorry.
That's great. We love that.
We love that. Yeah,
We love being stumped.
Probably
Now I gotta go.
Mid-20s, really good, the whole album through and through. So there's my 5. Everyone should own them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Listen to them while drinking really good beer in your house, preferably those made by true indie American craft breweries.
You are correct. Well, it looks like everybody's filing in here. I wanted to bring up real fast.
One thing, we'll just bring this up that we're
Oh, we're going to drink this real quick.
What's that one? Oh yeah, so that's we do a lot of different fruit infused IPAs, and that one, we did a lot with wine must starting in 1996 with Raison d'Etre and pureed raisins, and then 99 with Midas Touch. But then we brought back our 61, a 60-minute plus one ingredient, which was Pinot Noir grapes. This one is made with white muscat grapes and a little Viognier grapes. So it's a white wine infused IPA.
Really taste it.
I was gonna say if I
taste it.
I preach 2 Dogfish beers all the time. You know, that's both Sea Quench and Midas Touch.
Love
Midas Touch is
Well, the wine
such
guy.
an underrated, delicious beer. I don't know why it doesn't end up. Yeah,
You were the main reason, Richard, why this was the last beer that I grabbed when I was there, because of the hybrid
great
between the
character.
grapes and wine characteristics.
Yeah, nice. Well, what do you think?
hello.
It really comes through, right?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
You really get it. You really get it in the nose.
How do you pronounce that too? Is it viniferous?
Viniferous.
Viniferous.
Yep, so having to do with the vine.
What are the grapes, or how is that?
White, I think it's white muscat, and there's different. This is an experimental batch. You just got some drafted at a pub, probably.
Yeah, I got it at the brewery.
At the brewery.
Yeah.
Dryness.
That is one that you might see it come to the market in some form someday.
Okay.
Not just at our brew pub, because
It's both
people are
full
really
body.
digging it.
It's both full body, and then it has like a cutoff.
it makes it feel dry.
And it just dries right out.
Yeah.
It just goes away.
Right.
That's really.
That doesn't have
really
that
awesome.
lingering hot bitterness. It just has a nice, astringent, clean finish.
Real fast, we're running out of time. Summer variety packs. I wanted to bring that up real fast because I want you not only what's in the package, which is fantastic, but what the actual package is brilliant.
Yeah, we're really proud of that, and our pals at Hunterdon are really engaged. It's our distributor here in the state. This is a pack that you'll be able to find hopefully pretty easily around New Jersey just as the summer's heating up, late June, early July. But it's a mixed pack from Dogfish that has 3 cans each of Sequench Ale, Lupa Luau, which is our coconut-infused IPA, 60 Minute, and Namaste. But the package itself kind of origamis up and unfolds and has a very special finish on it. And we have the exclusive on the design through the end of next year. So it converts into a functional ice cooler that you can ice down those 12 beers in the package that you buy it in. And wait, there's more. Every package includes a koozie branded Dogfish Koozie Collab koozie. And wait, there's more on the inside of the package. You can read on how you can sign up to win a trip to the brewery. And wait, there's more. If you're one of those,
I'm sitting here dumbfounded.
if you win the trip, you actually get to help us mill the black limes and chop the fruit that goes into the beers that are in the package. We're
Turns
putting
out
you to work.
I have the winning package.
You found out
limes and milling fruit.
You found out a way to include slave labor in a winning package. That's amazing.
I'll tell you though. I mean, just the idea that the package itself can become a cooler is revolutionary.
Yeah.
There's no nonsense because you know how many times being in retail, you see people grab stuff on their way to the shore or their way to a picnic or anywhere. You have those styrofoam coolers.
Yeah, they break instantly.
You get out of the parking lot. You might as well just. It's not worth your
Rip
time.
up your $2 bill.
Rip it up, throw it out. It's not going to do anything for you. Whatever. But this, you'll be able to put the ice and on top of the beer in the pack. And like you said, you guys have the exclusive on that through 2019. So no one's going to be able to jump on your coattails on that. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome.
Look for that this summer.
Well, we're gonna have to fold this up because here comes the masses. Things are happening.
Here comes
Things are
the
getting weird.
leadership team of Hunterdon. So we're gonna
Starting to hear the roar of the crowds.
Yes, yeah. Sam, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
It's cool. It's
Appreciate you
easy.
coming on.
Time flew.
I know it does.
Any
It does.
fans of both music and beer, just equal passion, or friends of mine.
Absolutely. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming here to South Jersey. It's going to be a fun night. I've curated some music that, as you're talking,
Well, yeah, you got Shakedown Street.
I got
Shakedown.
shaken. Well, you're going to be speaking with people tonight. My goal was, as you're busy working the room, that your left ear, you're just going to raise an eyebrow.
That's a good one.
Is that on vinyl? You'll be able to come down. And did you bring records to play?
to share. Yeah.
Okay, because if you want to play some records, I'm going to go down there right now and set up my situation. I brought a lot of the releases that you guys have released. I brought with me. So we'll be able to throw those on. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Food, beer, Blue Monkey, Khalil, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Hunterdon. Hey now. Those are my people. And thanks for listening. We will catch up with you all soon. Richard?
Cheers. See ya.
Cheers.
That's it. That's all.
Looking for us, Fear of a Craft Beer Planet podcast, you can find us at FOACBP. Get it? Fear of a Craft Beer Planet, right? We are on all social media forums. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Fear Craft Beer. You can also like us on Facebook, Fear of a Craft Beer Planet. You'll get all of our news, updates, tweets on everything Fear of a Craft Beer Planet, as well as when new episodes are going to air and be uploaded to your iTunes, SoundCloud, or Android podcast apps.
Come on, listen, wise guy. I beg of you, will you listen to me? When I talk, you listen.
When I'm listening to them, I'm laughing the whole time. Something fun? I think it's great. It gets me going. Awesome.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Fear of a Craft Beer Planet Craft Beer Podcast. This podcast is in the Loop, the Legion of Osiris podcasts. What exactly does that mean? Osiris is a place where you can discover great music and culture podcasts. If you like this one, check out osirispod.com and get in the loop. Osiris partners with Relics Magazine. Check out Relics, RELIX.com. That's relics.com for all your music news.